You are here because you are tired. You are tired of the cycle. Maybe you just decided today that you are done with casual hookups and lust. Or maybe you are 3 months or some weeks into celibacy and now the walls are starting to close in. Feel like your body is constantly at war with your spirit. Listen, that's the same for a lot of people out there.
Why is being celibate so hard?
I've been practicing celibacy lately, I ain't gonna lie, bro. This shit been hard, bro.
People keep saying, how do you do it? How do you remain celibate? You so strong. You make it look easy. It ain't easy.
My hormones are on a rampage.
Most people think that celibacy is just not having sex. But if that is all it was, then it would be completely easy and completely simple for people. But celibacy is actually a spiritual renovation. Today, I'm going to show you the spiritual weight of your desire. I'm going to show you the science of what is happening in your body and why your struggle isn't a sign of failure, but it's a sign of life. Before that, if you're new here, my name is Victoria and welcome to my channel where I make videos to help Christians like you grow in faith, purpose and confidence. So if that sounds like your jam, then girl, you might want to click that button right there. But if you're a returning subscriber, hey bestie. Let's talk about the science of the flesh. Let's talk about why celibacy is really hard. Research shows that sexual desire and masturbation triggers the same reward circuitry in the brain as powerful drugs. And so when you look at the screen or you engage in lust, your brain floods with dopamine and oxytocin. So when you begin celibacy, you are essentially going through a chemical withdrawal. Your brain is literally screaming for that hit, and science calls this neuroplasticity. Your brain has carved roads towards lust. So when you stop, you are basically trying to grow grass over that road and build new roads towards Christ. Imagine a guy called Peter who is a drug addict, but all of a sudden he decides that he doesn't want to be a drug addict no more. He doesn't want to engage in drugs, and so he stops. He would go through withdrawal. His body is literally going to go crazy because his body, his system, his neurons are used to the excitement that comes from taking those drugs. And so when he stops taking those drugs, this is not feeding his neurons, feeding his system, and of course his system is going to react. And this is why you find it hard right now, because your body is used to those lustful desires, your body is used to those lustful actions. So now that you are stopping, you are not feeding that part of your body, and this is why it's screaming for that. And so the insight is that you are not bad, or you are not a bad Christian, or you are not doing it well simply because you have the urge or simply because you have the desire. You are basically just a biological being. But the Bible book of Romans 12 verse 2 tells us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So you aren't just changing an habit, you are literally rewiring your brain for God's glory. For the beginners, for those who just started their journey of celibacy, for those who just decided to go on this journey called celibacy, if you are just starting, I want you to listen to me when I say this. You cannot willpower your way into being celibate. In the Bible, when the Israelites left Egypt, they still had the taste of Egypt in their mouths, despite that they were slaves back in Egypt. After God sent Moses to come deliver them from the land of Egypt, after they left, they still regretted leaving Egypt. Despite even back when they were in Egypt, they were not free, they were slaves. That is you right now. You want freedom, you want to be free, but you miss the excitement that comes from you engaging in this. You miss the comfort. So now, what's the practical step for you just starting your celibacy journey? I want to start by identifying the why. Now, most people struggle with keeping to whatever decision they made to themselves. Most people struggle with being celibate because they haven't gotten to identify the reason why they are going on this celibacy journey. When you start feeling overwhelmed, or when you start struggling, or when you being celibate start becoming really, really hard, your reason is what is going to keep you on track. Why are you going on a celibacy journey? Do you want to go on a celibacy journey because you don't want to treat people as object for your desires no more, because you just want to spend time with yourself, because you want to build a more deeper relationship with Christ and not let your desires get in the way? You want to start by identifying your reason. When you remember that your reason, it boosts your confidence, it boosts your energy back into sticking to your decision of being celibate. And then you want to change your environment. Listen, if your phone is your altar for lust, you want to keep it far away from you. If your social media feed is your altar for lust, then you want to cut off the amount of time you stay on social media. Because if you tell yourself, you know what, just a little peek, just a little glance at this content, you would get aroused. And when you get aroused, it becomes really hard to resist those desires. And so this is why you want to change your environment. If you are with friends who have no business with being celibate, who are not bothered about celibacy, but you are going on a celibacy journey, you want to cut them off, because we really want to cut off everything that will trigger you into going back on your decision. We really want to cut off everything that will trigger those lustful desires in you. This is why you want to change your environment, and then you want to find healthy outlets for your libido. Many people struggle with celibacy because they have high libido, and listen, that's a natural part of you being a human. Okay, that's completely natural. The goal here isn't to suppress this, but is to figure out or find out healthy outlets for it. Maybe that means, focusing on physical exercises, or creating what I would like to call a 2-minute covenant. Now, this is essentially when, as soon as those desires start coming up, you want to pick up your phone and call your friend and talk to them for 2 minutes about something random. The shame of having to admit that you relapsed or you went back on your decision is enough to keep you on ground. You cannot just say no to sex and say yes to nothing, because nature abhors a vacuum. If you emptied your life of sexual intimacy, you need to look for something to fill it up. Just take me for instance. I've been trying to reduce the amount of snacks I take. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I just want to start snacking, and so every day I always buy junk food, biscuit, chocolate, everything, and I just keep them in my bedroom. And lately I've been trying to focus on my health. I've been trying to eat healthier, and so what I did was that I replaced buying those junk food. I started buying more of oranges. In the morning, as soon as I wake up and I feel like snacking, I just go to that basket, pick up one orange and start eating it. I said no to junk food, but I had to say yes to something. If I did not say yes to something, if I wake up in the morning and I feel like snacking and I realize that there's nothing for me to eat, I'll just leave my house, go to a store down the street and go buy maybe one chocolate or something, or maybe a lollipop. But now I wake up in the morning, I feel like snacking, there are a lot of oranges staring at me. So if you are saying no to sex, you need to look for something to say yes to. You need to look for healthier outlets for these desires. For those people who are currently struggling, I would like to call those people the ones that are currently in the middle of the fire right now. You've been celibate for a few weeks, and now it's starting to look real, or it's starting to feel real. The night sweat is completely real and it's completely excess. Your dreams are so vivid right now, and you feel like you are losing your mind. You feel like you are going crazy. You just want to touch something and do something. But listen, lust is a liar. It tells you that itch you currently feel now will never go away unless you scratch it. But research on urge surfing shows that a craving is like a wave. It builds, it peaks, and then if you don't act on it, it must subside. So, and listen, spiritual warfare happens in the peak of that wave, and so this is where you need to stand your ground. Jesus Christ was being tempted by the devil, turn stone to bread, jump from this pinnacle, bow down to me, and blah blah blah. Jesus Christ was not like, no, devil, go away from me. Oh, no. What did Jesus Christ do? Jesus Christ used the word. So when you feel that desire at its peak, when you feel like you can't stick to your decision to being celibate, when you feel like your hormones are literally begging you to just go touch someone, this is when you must stand your ground, and this is when you must use the word. The Bible says that for you cannot serve two masters at the same time. There are currently two masters. One is the master of your desire, and the other one is the master of you saying no. And so the stronger master get to win, and the weaker master get to go down. This second master, which is you saying no, has to be very, very strong for this first master, which is your master of this lustful desires, to go down. So this is where, at the moment when you feel like you cannot say no anymore, at the moment when your body is screaming, that is the point. That is where the war is really, 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 really happening. And this is where you need to stand your ground. Everybody was made in the image of God, and people shouldn't be objects for your pleasure. We should treat human beings with respect. We should want to be with them because we love them, because we appreciate them, not because we are using them for object to just release those things inside of us. This is for those who are currently practicing, more like those who've reached a level we can call mastery. Maybe you've been 2 months into celibacy, or 6 months into celibacy, or 1 year into celibacy. First of all, can I tell you how proud I am of you? You know what? congratulations, you are doing great. But you need to be careful, because the point when you feel like you've arrived, that's the point where you become really vulnerable. I saw this post on Facebook the other day of this guy. He was 3 months into celibacy, and so the day that he was celebrating his 3rd month of being celibate, he was very excited. And then one thing led to another. His friend called him for a party. He went, he had a lot of things to drink, and then he got drunk. And then the next morning he woke up, he realized that he was in bed with a girl, completely naked. The deed has been done. His plan was to go for an amount of years being celibate, but because of it was 3 months in, he felt that he has arrived. He got so excited and he lost it. So it was advising people through that post that the point you feel like you've arrived, that is the point when you need to be careful, and your hormones and your neurons will take advantage of that. They'll come flooding so much that you wouldn't be able to control it. Research shows that people who practice long-term celibacy or fasting have higher levels of focus and executive function, because you are literally becoming a more powerful version of yourself. You are not a slave anymore to your impulses. You are not a slave anymore to your neurons. You are not a slave anymore to your private organs. You are now a vessel for noble use. You are now a vessel for God's use. And whether you are on your day 1 or day 100 or 2 months or 3 months into celibacy, congratulations, I'm so proud of you. But I want you to remember that your identity is not rooted on you being celibate. Your identity is rooted on you being a child of God, and celibacy is just the way you are honoring that relationship with God right now. So even if you failed yesterday like the guy on Facebook, I want you to remember what the Bible says about how the righteous man falls 7 times but still gets up. So even if you fail, get up. And also, one thing that makes it hard for people to stick to their celibacy journey is having those lustful desires. And this is why I made this video a few months back on how to overcome lust. And so you really want to check out this video, because this is actually going to help you in your celibacy journey. It is also going to be linked in the description box and also going to be on the end screen. You would really find it useful, I promise you. Like and subscribe if you want us to be besties, be better, and I pray for you that the Lord gives you the grace to be celibate as much as you've decided on being celibate.
This day that God has given me, I'm not gonna waste this joy deep down inside me. I'm not gonna shake, been stressed for so long.